getting out riding that hard stuff. I'm George, the guy behind the bars and the voice behind the mic, and we're out riding one of my favorite spots. This is Jawbone. Jawbone's an extreme riding open area. It's got some massive hill climbs. It's got massive rock faces. It's got really skinny, sketchy single track, and it just that extreme environment riding. If you like that hard enduro style riding with some hill climbs thrown in, Jawbone is going to do that for you. I got Case riding out with me today. He's coming up the hill right now, and then Jayce will be behind him. Yesterday we rode out in the Hunters MC Sprint Enduro, and that was going on today, but we didn't do it both days. We decided to come ride Jawbone.
I told you we should have swapped it out last night.
And Case's back tire is a little worn out, so the Jawbone, it's got a lot of this really steep sandy hill climbs, and having a new fresh tire is very helpful. So he's going to be struggling a little bit on these climbs. Now they have the 250s, which on the big climbs, the 450 just dominates. I mean, you can't get better than hill climbing on a 450. Even the 300 guys, it ain't like climbing on a 450. The 450 has the power to just get up that hill. It's very windy. If you haven't been to Jawbone, it's very, very windy. Some days, I mean, if it's calm, that's like 2 days out of the year, no wind. The rest of the time, usually you got like a 20-mile-an-hour wind out here. Sometimes you get 30 to 40-mile-an-hour gusts of winds out here. And last night there's a storm coming in. See those clouds on the hill? It's gonna rain on us later, so there's a storm coming, and that wind was getting fierce, especially on these peaks. It's making the hill climb.
Freaking wind is pushing pretty good.
Yeah, it's pushing us, so we're having to lean in to the wind because the wind it's just whipping right over the ridge of these mountaintops here. With the added loose rocks, they're all about baseball-sized rocks, softball-sized rocks, plus the wind, it's making these hill climbs real tricky. You can hear it on the GoPro, just we can barely hear each other. When we were talking, we had to yell the whole time because we couldn't hear one another. The wind was so loud. So it's a good climb right here. This is a real rocky, chunky climb. And the rocks are just real loose. Nothing's packed down. And I don't quite make it to the top there. And instead of zigzagging and doing some little pivot turns to get to the top, I'm like pretty close. I'm just going to go straight. And the rocks keep digging out under the tire, moving. But I don't want to just give it the juice and just dig a hole and lose control and dump the bike again. So I'm just taking little bites out of the climb. So I'll rock it forward and back, and then take a little bit, and then I rock forward and back, take a little bit until I feel my momentum carrying me up the hill there. I don't know if that's the best strategy, but that's the strategy I'm using. And I feel like, because on this rocky stuff, it's real easy to have a rock just going under your tire, and then it kicks you out, and your bike dumps or lands upside down on this steep climb, and then you're just wasting so much extra energy trying to ride your bike. So just do little bites. So you see I just go up, rock back, and when I start to feel the bike digging in, I'll pull in the clutch, let it rock back a little bit so I get a little bit forward momentum, and carry my get up the hill that way. That wind is fierce. It's biting me. If you ever ridden a street bike with a crosswind, you know, you're like really having to lean into the wind.
There you go.
There's Jayce.
That's a good dismount.
Good dismount. Never want to let the bike pin you. So
we'll just go up from here.
You can just see how big and loose those rocks are. The wind's just really playing wreaking havoc, just messing around with your balance.
These are wet.
Hey,
And his
good.
pipe
Let's just go up
crashed
from here.
yesterday pretty hard, and there was a crack in his exhaust pipe, and every time he'd land on that side, it would kind of open up that pipe a little bit more, so that by the end of the day,
I'll get the my tugging strap.
it was sounding like it was almost at an open exhaust. I mean, there was a pretty good half-inch wide crack in the exhaust pipe. So Jayce, a little bit of shorter rider. He got Case in front. He's about 6'2", and then Jayce right there in front of me. He's about 5'5", and you can just see how he's having to side saddle the seat there. Now the wind, I'm telling you, it's strong. So you got like 20, 25 mile an hour winds right now. So it's just really, messing with your balance here. Trying to stay on the pegs with the rocks. It's just tricky.
Short legs.
The Jayce's tough, and you know, you gotta do it and keep learning. And he doesn't give up. So I really like that about him. He's gonna be a good rider. I mean, he's only 14. Both these guys are only 14 years old, and I've been taking them on some really hard terrain, and I just can't imagine how good they're gonna be 2 years from now. You know, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years from now, they're just gonna be rock stars. So I love the technique that Jayce uses to get up his bike. He does this back deadlift. I don't, you know, I'm a taller guy, and I work out quite a bit. So to me, to pick up the bike isn't that hard. Even the 450, I really just don't struggle that much picking the bike up. Now, yeah, when I'm super exhausted, it gets hard, but he has his own strategy picking up. Right here just kind of helps stabilize it. I mean, the wind is just, it's fierce over the top, and I'm like, all right, let's just get him over, because we still got some harder climbs to go. And he's been learning pretty good. Alright, we got a nice little sketchy climb ahead of us. So we've got this little rock face bluff. You can see that the rocks on it cut out there in that layer in the mountainside. So Case is just going to go up there and take a little recon look, see which route is the best route. And it drops away, so picking a bad line would be pretty bad. But this is it's kind of a head game. You just got to have the confidence to send it up there. Alright, so I'm gonna go on the left line here. Really chunky rocky through here. It's still pretty steep. Didn't get my weight forward, so I popped the front, and I didn't have enough drive to get my body weight forward to help keep the front end from coming back on me. But the boys are gonna come, so I'm gonna look at the best line. I'm gonna tell them to go left here.
I would. If you can get them up here, this one.
Yeah, right through there. And then that's a nice kind of easy line to get through that spot. So Trixie, tell you what, she takes a beating from me, and she keeps on riding. So I got up there. See, you picked a good line, made it up pretty easy. But Trixie, you know, she's taken kind of she's had a rough life with me, but she still gets it done every time.
Right through there.
I'm just gonna be a little spotter for Jayce. I believe in safety. I don't want anyone to get hurt. Now, I know he had the big crash on race day. Racing's a little different because, you know, you just get in that zone. You're on your own. But we're just practicing trail riding, and I know this is some pretty hairy stuff that we're riding through here. If you've been to Jawbone, you know what I'm talking about. It's some pretty hairy trails, especially on the peaks or on the side. A lot of people have been here. Jawbone's been around a long time, and a lot of these trails are just really rutted out, really worn out. a little safety is always welcomed. So I'm going to go back down, turn around, make another shot at this. So there we go, I'm going to take the line the boys took. And I just don't make it all the way to the top, but I'm getting really good at being able to tractor, feather my clutch. And Trixie, she just gets all the way up there, no problem. You know, they always talk about the 300s and tractoring. I'm like, I've never had a problem tractoring the 450. It just does really well. Jawbone, it has a lot of this like hard rock with a little thin layer of pebbles or rocks. I guess it's all volcanic rock or granite rock crumbled, but it makes it a little bit slippery, you know, because you got this hard base layer or rock layer, and then you got this little thin layer of crumbly, pebbly rocks on top. So it's real easy to slide out with the tires. That distant peak on the right, that's Sugarloaf, so that's where we're going. I've been up to the top before, the boys haven't, so I'm bringing them up there. And then we're going to head down a different way, and the way we go down, there's some steep parts that are just insanely steep, and we ended up having to walk them down. We'll get to that in a bit. There's a really rutted out climb ahead of us. There's a couple different lines that you can take. Case is going to go first, he's going to go left. Jayce is going to take a middle line, and then I'll take the far right one. And there's another one, you just got to have that confidence, really bring in some momentum to clear over the really rocky faces that are up there. Case doesn't quite make it to the top, and we're training for a grinding stone coming up at the end of March. So I'm telling them you can come back down now, hit it again, but a lot of times in the hard enduro, there's like you can't go down, like you're only going forward because there's like people behind you. It's bottlenecked, whatever it is. So you gotta get used to working yourselves out of a hard situation on a climb, either pushing your bike up, zigzagging up, or asking for help. So here we go, I take the right line. As you can see, it's just really rutted out, real rocky. Trying to maintain the balance there. Jayce, he's doing the push, trying to get over that rock ledge.
Look at that. Just feather that clutch. Feather the clutch.
So I'm walking with my legs, just keeping myself balanced, and then I'm just feathering that clutch, letting the bike grab and keep on pulling up.
Clutch out, clutch out. We start rolling back, let out the clutch. That'll stop. Yeah, alright, you got it from here.
Yeah, I got it.
Good job. Ew!
Nice, well done. Gotta make these guys work for it, you know. If you ride dirt bikes, you know, most of the time you're like, I don't want help. It's like the last resort to ever ask for help. You always want to make it on your own. It's like a sense of accomplishment when you're able to make it on your own. A good little rock section right here. Jayce, we've been stressing with him, trying to get his clutch control better and better and better. Not just, you know, twisting the throttle and hoping that you're gonna one-shot every climb. So you got to be able to feather that clutch sometimes, keep your bike under control. And that, you know, a lot of hard enduro is just keeping your bike in control. When you get out of control, that's when you're launching it off the side of the mountain down a cliff, or you're just landing upside down, making yourself work 10 times harder than the guys that keep their bikes under control.
Go that way.
That way?
Get it, Jayce.
So the boys both go left here. I'm gonna do the big one on the right. I'm gonna one-shot this.
Uh-oh.
So let's go. Let's do it. Come on, Trixie. So if I can start, I like to start in a third gear climb. The 450 just has that power. Third gear isn't a problem. Even if it starts to dip in RPM a little bit, you can always rev it up a little bit and it'll come back on you. If you watched that, when we were in Cinder Hills and we had the paddles going up some of the big volcano climbs, whenever that 300 started dipping, the power, the torque would never come back on me. Whereas the 450, it has so much power. It's awesome.
Comes Case.
So the boys saw me do the big climb, so they both went back down to hit this big climb like I did.
Get it! Yeah! Go, 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 go! Oh, wheelie at the top. What a show off. Uncle George running up the hill.
Just having some fun. So Jayce, yesterday in the race, he ripped one of his callus off his hands pretty good, and we tried gluing it. We put a band-aid on it last night, but
over that ridge line and through there, it gets really nasty.
it's come off again, so it's just hurting his hand a little bit. And I told him, hey, if you want to knock it off, we'll just go back. You know, I'm not forcing anyone when I ride to ride outside their comfort zone, or if they're hurt, whatever. You know, we can always ride another day. It doesn't bother me. But if you say we're gonna keep going, then we keep going. So he wanted to keep riding, so we didn't stop. So off to the right, another reason I like Jawbone, it's kind of a central location. Off to the right is Dove Springs, and from there, I mean, you can ride from here all the way to Dove Springs and keep on going. There's Indian Wells Brewery, so you can ride all the way, have lunch, have a beer, and ride back. You know, you can do it a whole day ride. You can ride up in the mountains. This will connect all the way through the Sierras to go to Lake Isabella. And people do that. You'd have to pack some extra gas on you, but that'd probably be around a 50-mile trip, 40-mile, something like that. But, yeah, or you can go south along Barren Ridge and get up into the mountains that way. It's Jawbone.
You can leave the engine off. Yeah. Use your clutch as a rear brake. You
can even go out to Randsburg. There's some mines out there, and then Randsburg has some restaurants. You know, a little old mining town. Then north of that, Spangler or Wagon Wheel. A lot of the hare and hound races are. So we're going down here, and this is extremely steep. And I tell the guys, you know, you don't have to stay on the bike. Right there, you can just see how I was talking about earlier. It's that really like rock with a little bit of gravel on top that's just making it really hard for these tires to get any traction. But it gets to a point where it's so steep. I'm like, you get off the bike, like, and walk the bike down. There's no reason. You don't have to stay on the bike the entire time.
Doing good.
When you're out in Jawbone, you know, it's an old riding area, and there's like runs up every hill. It's some just insane tracks and lines that people have taken, and it just blows my mind. You're driving out here, and you'll see a line someone took up this side of the hill there or over there, and you're like, it's nuts. Like, who would ever do that? And there's always one crazy guy that just sees.
And it's too bad. You can always get off the bike and just bulldog it down.
Yeah, so I'm telling you, it gets so steep, like you're about to fall over the handlebars, and you're not getting good traction. You just hop off and walk it down. You know, be smart about it. But just crazy, all the different lines you get out the job on. You're just like, it's nuts what other people have done. You know, can imagine the first people that ever came out here didn't have all these lines. They just had to start making them. So I had Case had to cut right because where he was going is just cliffed out right there. So we're coming right here. This part, it's just doggone steep.
This is so steep.
Yeah, so I'm walking down. It's almost like skiing because even my feet are sliding as I'm walking the bike down.
Just skiing. Woo! Take your time. You guys are doing good.
This is so steep.
Yeah.
Like rocky gravel.
I know. Don't want to be on the downhill side.
Yeah, whenever you're walking a bike down, always stay on the uphill side from your bike so that the bike can't fall over and pin you on the ground. So I finally get down to a point where I feel it's safe enough. I can hop on the bike and just ride it the rest of the way. Good, nice. Oh, the boys made it down. Now we're gonna climb up the other side there. Another rocky little climb coming up.
Woo! Damn, that was nuts. Oh,
Here's a little cliff
I gotta make it look
to the left there. Pressure's on. Both the boys made it, so now Uncle George, I gotta make it. No problem. Look at that. Yeah, buddy.
Hey, go right. This way.
Now, if you look in the horizon there, you got a couple peaks straight ahead, like directly ahead. That's Chuckwalla, and to the right of that was Cross Mountain. And I've been wanting to do that peak-to-peak ride, and this is why we're doing this ride. So I'm trying to build the boys up, so that we can hit both those peaks, because they're a lot more extreme than this. So we start off with a Sugarloaf peak, and we're gonna then head over to the base of Chuckwalla on the second half of this. I'll have to make another video. This video's too damn long, but I'm building them up so that we can do Chuckwalla Peak and then a Cross Mountain Peak there, which will be pretty awesome. It's pretty extreme. One thing I also love about Jawbone is it just the runs get so worn out, so ruttered out. You know, we got really windy conditions. Whenever it rains here, you know, it's just making these ruts really deep and nasty. You can see the water cutting them down, cutting them in. And there's no like trail grooming, and it's just like you can ride anywhere. It just makes the ride so much more challenging. You know, some people like a nice groomed trail, easy trail to ride. I love, the harder it is, the more I like it. So I love that these trails just get rutted out, really difficult, technical to get through.
Pebbles. Makes it real slippery.
Beautiful day to ride though. I mean, other than it was super windy, but look at the views. The views are just amazing.
Yeah, buddy. Woo! Engine's off. That's good.
So we do a lot of real steep descents. We turn the engine off and use the engine as a rear brake as well. It just to keep in control of your descents. I mean, this is very steep.
Woo, that's nasty.
And this little gravelly pebble rock is just
Get in control.
making it real slick. And then you have all these really deep
You
ruts.
gotta walk it. You can walk it.
So it's throwing a lot of things at us, but the boys are managing and doing really good. Really proud of them. There, lost control. Just had the front end slide out on me. But that's why it's so important to keep your speed down, stay slow, stay in control, because if you do dump it over, you don't want to be going fast down this stuff. And right here, my battery died in my GoPro, so I'm at this insane descent angle, and I have to swap out the battery and put a new battery in right now. Made it down. I don't know why. I think Jawbone would be awesome for either a hard enduro or some kind of cross-country event or something like that. Some club needs to put on a motorcycle race out here. And I don't know if they've never had them out here before, but you got this whole ridge line with a ton of trails. I think it'd be awesome. You'd have hard sections, so you'd have a lot of spectator areas, you know, a lot of trails so spectators could get around on their own side-by-sides and go ride different areas of the course. I think this would be an awesome area to put on some kind of I would go a hard enduro, but even some kind of race out here would be great. Oh yeah. I swapped out my batteries. I do this
Dang it!
so many times.
Got to close my bag.
So I forget to zip my bag up, and I lost a battery, and then I have my power pack that I charge my iPhone. I need to remember to zip that up. I want to add. I wish they'd have like a little Velcro flap, so you'd have to zip it up every time. Just a Velcro flap would catch that, or even like a magnetic flap or something. I love my bag. I have it placed. I made my own little mount for it, and I like having it because I use my iPhone there. And I see other people ride. They got their iPhone on their handlebar with no protection at all of either getting hit or just dust and water or rocks, from people's roofs and stuff like that. So I like having that bag. Keeps my iPhone protected. I've flipped the bike over, it's landed on the handlebars, and my iPhone has never gotten hurt. So I like that bag. I keep my GoPro batteries in there. I'll put some snacks in there. It's large enough. I've had different style of bags there. I got a little bit bigger one where I could put a Gatorade and like a protein bar in there. The zippers break. They're cheap made bags, and I've griped at this before. Someone needs to make a higher quality bag, and I would go with like a Velcro flap on it or a magnetic flap, so I don't have to zip it every time. It'd be real quick. Bam, bam. Get what I need. Just close that Velcro and get out and get after it. Alright folks, that's going to bring this to a close. Hope you enjoyed our little climb up to Sugarloaf today. We're going to hit up the other side, which has just a lot of extreme single track trails. Very rocky. You got to bring your A game here. You got to have some conditioning, and you got to have some balls to get up what we're going to hit this afternoon. So we're going to have a little lunch and hit that up. Jawbone's a fun area. I recommend it. There's a ton of hill climbs. If you don't want to do all the crazy single track, you can just hit the hills and have fun all day doing that. But until next video, get out and ride and get some.